Welcome back to the Banganator podcast, brought to you by your host, Esley Banga, Season 2, Episode 2. And I don't got my usual setup right now, but that's all right. We still gonna talk football. But how about them Cowboys? 30-10 against the New York Jets. Zach Wilson was no match. No match for the Dallas Cowboys defense. Aaron Rodgers was out because of that Achilles injury. And we would have a field day with Zach Wilson like I predicted. So I ain't gonna waste no time. Let's get into these stats. When it comes to the offense, Dak Prescott with 31 for 38, 255 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and most importantly, 0 interceptions. I was worried because I knew that the Jets have a good defense. They wasn't good on Sunday against the Cowboys. We put 30 on them. Tony Pollard had 72 rushing yards, 37 receiving yards. So he's looking good as a number one feature back. And CeeDee Lamb had 143 receiving yards. Our receiving core didn't do too much receiving wise, but he was the biggest one that produced. And 143, that's a lot of yards. So good job, Dak. Good job, CD. On the defensive side, Micah Parsons with 2 sacks. Defense had 3 sacks in total, but Micah had 2. So let's go, Micah. Hey, he really looking like he could win Defensive Player of the Year and possibly MVP. I heard that. So we'll see. 3 interceptions by Ron Curse, Trayvon Diggs, and Malik Hooker. So, hey, keep it up. Keep it up, D. And Micah Parsons also had a fumble recovery. And then one key thing to point out, Brandon Aubrey, our kicker, he went 5 for 5 in field goals and 1 extra point, and his longest was 55 yards. So it looks like we got a reliable kicker that can be consistent and not miss fluky field goals like kickers of the past recently. We held Zach Wilson, our defense held Zach Wilson to 170 total yards and 1 touchdown. That 1 touchdown, it was because Malik Hooker took a bad angle to tackle. I believe it was Garrett Wilson. They didn't have another touchdown after that. So that was a fluky play, and Malik Hooker made up with it by getting an interception of his own. And Zach Wilson went 12 of 27. That's way under 50%. The rushing was non-existent. All their main rushers, all their running backs for the Jets, they had less than 10 yards, every single one of them. The leading rusher was Zach Wilson with 36 yards. How you going to let y'all's quarterback have the most yards, have the most rushing yards? Unless you're somebody like Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields. But Zach Wilson ain't that. So that lets you know the deep ish that the Jets are in right now. It's not looking good for them. A preview of the Cowboys versus Cardinals game. Cowboys going to win that game. You could argue that the Cardinals are trying to tank. They let go of some of their best players. For whatever reason, Kyler Murray isn't playing. Some injury, whatever. They let go of their next best quarterback, their backup, Colt McCoy, who's been a veteran backup in the league for a while now. So, yeah, it looks like they're tanking. They're trying to get probably Caleb Williams coming out of USC in college for next season in the draft. So it ain't looking good for the Cardinals. We should blow them out. Now, one thing I will say is, there's been a recent update development. NFL Network broke that Trayvon Diggs tore his ACL at practice and he's out for the season. So that's tough. That's really tough. That's a big blow to our defense. I think our defense is going to be all right, but damn, that's a key piece right there. And I don't know what it is with all these serious injuries and players that are out for the season, Aaron Rodgers, Nick Chubb. There was somebody else in week 1 with the season-ending injury. And then now Trayvon Diggs. Damn, man. The NFL just can't catch a break with its biggest stars. Fantasy football update. I lost. I'm 1-1. I lost against my cousin who's in the same league as I am. I lost 114-83. And Tua, he had me 13 points. Jalen Waddle, same team, 12 points. He was getting some things going better than last week. But Deebo Samuel, he was the biggest playmaker for me, getting 22 points. And it just wasn't enough, though, because there were a lot of my players in fantasy that just didn't produce. Jets defense was the biggest one, 0 points, with how many points that they let Dallas score. Zay Flowers got me 10 points. I'm glad I put him in my lineup. He'll be key in the future, but just wasn't enough. Justin Tucker, 11 points. That's a lot for a kicker, but collectively, it just wasn't enough to beat my cousin. Clearly, I got blown out. Going into week 3 of fantasy football, I will be replacing Kyle Pitts because he ain't done ish. I don't know what's up with the Falcons, but Desmond Ridder, he's not targeting Kyle Pitts. So I'm replacing him with Dalton Kincaid for the Buffalo Bills. So hopefully he'll get some targets. I am adding Kareem Hunt because of the Nick Chubb injury in the Browns. The Browns are signing Kareem Hunt, and therefore I'm adding Kareem Hunt to my roster. I'm probably going to start Kareem Hunt over Dalvin Cook because Dalvin Cook ain't been doing much either. It's time for the Banganator's top banging moments of week 2 in the NFL. Coming in at number 4, Raheem Mostert's 43-yard touchdown for the Dolphins against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. That run clocked in at 21.62 miles per hour, and that's the second fastest speed recorded this season. So, hey, Raheem Mostert, keep doing your thing. Coming in at number 3, Russell Wilson's Hail Mary against the Washington Commanders. Denver was down and they down by 8. They needed to score a touchdown. Last drive, last chance. Russell Wilson heaves it up. It bounces in the end zone and finally lands in the hands of a Denver Broncos receiver. They did fail to score this 2-point conversion to tie the game, but it's amazing that Hail Mary was even completed. I was expecting it to get batted down. Coming in at number 2, the Steelers defense against the Browns on Monday Night Football. TJ Watt had a scoop and score. There was another lineman that batted the ball out of Deshaun Watson's hands and landed in the hands of TJ Watt. He picked it up, and he did the Dion celebration, high-stepped it into the end zone. They also had a pick 6 deflection off of the receiver, but Deshaun Watson did throw it into double coverage, so can't feel sorry for that one, bud. And at number 1, I got the Cowboys defense. Yup, as I mentioned earlier, 3 total sacks, 2 by Micah Parsons, 3 interceptions, and 1 fumble recovery. Hey, Cowboys D, keep doing your thing. Defense wins championships, and this is the key to making it happen. This dominant defense that we've seen the past 2 weeks. Let's go. We gonna switch over from the pros to college now. Texas beat Wyoming 31-10. Similar score to the Cowboys. So they were really dominant. They were slow at first, though. I was wondering, y'all got to pick it up. Y'all did what y'all did against Alabama. Wyoming should be no problem. Wyoming scored first, and then it was a close game in the first and second quarter. But then Texas showed who they are, and they started to pull away. Quinn Ewers went 11-21, 131 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns. So that's not a great performance at all. So he needs to pick it up a little bit. Jonathan Brooks, 164 yards, rushing yards, no touchdowns. Quinn Ewers did have a rushing touchdown, so it was badass to see that. Adonai Mitchell, 30 yards, and Xavier Worthy with 56 yards, 1 touchdown. Xavier Worthy with that touchdown was huge. It was a screen pass, and I was surprised that it went for a touchdown. But, hey, he just went down the sideline and outran 2 defenders to score that touchdown. And that's the boost that we needed because during commercial break, Quinn Ewers was hyping up the team, telling everybody to pick it up. And then that was the play right there, Xavier Worthy's play to break the game open. The defense only had 1 sack, but Jaron Thompson did have a pick 6. That was a badass pick 6. Took the quarterback's and receivers lunch money and went and cashed it in. Let's freaking go. Texas does play Baylor this upcoming weekend. Baylor's 1-2. I believe Texas will win. Even if it's a Big 12 opponent, Texas is good enough to win, and Baylor's record speaks for itself. And I can't go without talking about Colorado a little bit. Prime time, Coach Prime, Shedeur Sanders. Let's freaking go. Hey, the hype, the whole country is hyping this team up, but it's warranted though. Everybody was downplaying this man in Colorado in the offseason, and he proved them wrong. 3-0 against TCU, and then lately against Colorado State. I don't know if any of y'all saw it. I mean, y'all must have been watching that game. If y'all wasn't watching that game, y'all was wrong. Going back and forth. But then Shedeur Sanders, that last drive, 98 yards, scored a touchdown, bring it into overtime. And then overtime, Coach Prime, he said, I want the ball first. I got trust in Shedeur, my son. And they get it done in overtime. I think it took 2 overtimes. They get it done. The defense stops Colorado State's offense in the their last possession of overtime, and they end up taking it. So I thought they was about to lose their first game right there, but Coach Prime and Shedeur and the whole team, they picked it up and they got it. It sucks for Travis Hunter. He got a laceration in one of his organs, so he'll be out for about 3 to 4 weeks at least. And it's a shame because that hit on him was dirty. It was dirty. I don't care what nobody say. It was dirty. They got Oregon coming up, and they got USC after that. So I think that they're going to lose against Oregon. So we're going to see how it's going to go down. But Bo Nix, he's that guy. He produces a lot offensively for Oregon. And they got a defensive-minded head coach. So we'll see. We'll see. But I do expect Colorado to lose, but still rooting for him. Let's go Prime. Let's go Shedeur. And now we're gonna shift over from football to basketball entirely. The Dallas Wings advanced to their first ever semifinals, and their first semifinals as a franchise located in Dallas, because when they were the Detroit Shock, they did get to the semifinals, but as a Dallas franchise, they never been. It's their first time. They won the first round against the Atlanta Dream, the first round series. And in game 1, they won 94-82 in a comeback win. They was down by 20 points in the second quarter, but by halftime, it was tied 49 apiece. Satu Sabali had a franchise record 32 points. Arike Ngumawale, she had 24 points, and Tierra McCowan with a double-double, scoring 14 points. And then in game 2, it was no match. The Dream lost 101-74. We blew out the Dream. Arike had 20 points. Satu Sabali had 13 points. Awak Kuir had 13 points. And Kalani Brown had 12 points. So relatively pedestrian numbers by the starters, but it was the bench where we got more numbers, and that's why we were able to outscore the Dream so much in game 2. They do face the Aces in the semifinals though, and we know how badass the Aces are. They're the defending champs for a reason. Last time we played the Aces, it was a blowout. It was 104-88, and I was there. I was there in the building. So we did beat the Aces once this season in a close game, but that being said, and in the semifinals, it's best 3 out of 5. So I just don't see us winning 3 games, and then with the Aces having home court advantage in Las Vegas, I don't see the Wings winning 3 games to advance to the finals. The Aces beat the Chicago Sky in the first round. They won game 1 87-57, and they won game 2 92-70. So they were dominant in both games. And Asia Wilson, she's the standout star for sure. She averages 26 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 blocks. So we got to look out for those 4 blocks right there, because she will make somebody look stupid with them blocks. So we gonna see how we gonna fare against the Las Vegas Aces. I do expect us to lose the series. I expect us to probably just win one game, and that'll probably be game 3 at home to extend the series to game 4. But anything can happen. So let's go Wings. Thank y'all for watching this episode of the Banganator podcast. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and follow me on the Banganator podcast on Instagram. Let's pulverize the Cardinals on Sunday. How about them Cowboys?
The Banganator podcast is brought to you by Esley Banga, diehard fan of the Dallas Cowboys since 1997. How about them Cowboys?